I put her in the trunk of the car because I picture her as a passenger in my car and we're driving, right? She's in the passenger seat and she's trying to mess with the radio. And I'm like, I'm controlling the radio. I'm the driver.
Welcome to Courage to be Visible, the podcast for heart-centered entrepreneurs who are done hiding in the shadows and ready to step into the spotlight. I'm your host, Andrea Stenberg. I'm a video marketing strategist and a big believer that showing up as your true self is your marketing superpower. Today, I have with me Elaine Turso, and she's a business makeover specialist and a CRM collaboration partner. And she gives your business a makeover focused on brand, website, CRM, and have them all aligned for next level growth. Elaine, I'm so excited to have you here today.
Yay, thank you. I'm so excited.
So because you work with businesses and doing makeovers, you must see that people struggle with being visible. Why do you think that's so hard for so many people?
For a lot of people, what I've kind of noticed is the underlying thing is self-sabotage, right? Because what happens is if I become visible, then people are going to pay attention. They're going to judge me, but I might also get a lot of business for it. And can I handle that new business that might come my way? So there can be this level of, some people like to stay in the hustle. They like being in the hustle where they are working and they're grinding, like they're working towards something and they're fine just being there and never really seeing the big results that they are working so hard for. They're comfortable there, like they're cool there. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like I force people. I give them homework. Like, you have to do this. You have to do this. I need you to do this, because you can't just expect people we're not mind readers. You have to be visible. You have to tell people and share with people what it is that you're doing. And if you're like, I don't like posting on social media, then focus on One Connects, focus on networking groups, focus on the things that light you up, do those instead. But there are ways to improve your visibility, but self-sabotage, I call mine Sally. That's her name. Sally, the self-saboteur. I know when she shows up, and I kind of have a visual trick that I do. I put her in the trunk of the car because I picture her as a passenger in my car and we're driving, right? She's in the passenger seat and she's trying to mess with the radio. And I'm like, I'm controlling the radio. I'm the driver. So then I put her in the back seat and now she's a backseat driver. Not okay. So then I have to put her in the trunk. And then I just tell her, thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I don't need you right now. And then I can't get rid of her. She's a part of me. But I have to figure out how to tame her. And it's one of those things that I've just kind of discovered about myself. And once I discovered it about myself, then I was able to see it in the clients that I was helping, that self-sabotage was making an appearance in their own business of why they weren't having the success that they were looking for.
I love that image of shoving Sally in the trunk.
I mean, hello.
And then I suppose every once in a while she starts kicking and making some noise.
Of course she does. Of course she does.
Oh gosh, that is so funny. So when I first talked to you about having you as a guest on the podcast, you said that you wanted to talk about repurposing, which is one of my favorite topics. Yes. So why is repurposing such a powerful tool for entrepreneurs?
Because I'm a firm believer of, if you make one piece of content, then you can distribute that content in multiple different places, because people hang out in different spaces. And the content that you post on Facebook should look different than the content you post on LinkedIn, but the goal is the same. Right? So you just have to tweak your content specifically for that platform. Gary Vee taught us best, right? Like, you cannot go onto this platform and treat it like this platform, because that's not the purpose of it. So discover what the purpose of that platform is, and then customize and your content, repurpose it to be fit in with those guidelines.
Now, when I'm talking to clients, a lot of people are always worried, well, like, if I repurpose it, won't people know that I'm repurposing and get bored of what I'm saying? So how do you answer that?
Absolutely not. So I would tell people back I had a schedule, and I had my content was down pat. I don't have to do that so much anymore, because people are just I'm like the lighthouse now. And so basically, but what I did was I would start with like a blog post or a video, and then that would be my foundation. So people that like to read could have content, people that like to listen or watch have, so it doesn't matter because people are going to consume the content in the way that they prefer. Some people are like, I want to watch a video, but I can't have the volume on at night. So make sure, because I'm watching in bed and I don't want to wake up my husband. So make sure you have your captions on. But I do like a 3-month cycle. So by the time 3 months has passed around, people forget, right? And it's about repetition, and it's about just being consistent, and frequency and all that other kind of stuff I think is super great, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And now that we have AI tools, there are really great ways that we can restructure. The theme can be the same, the message can be the same, but the deliverability could be completely different with a new take, a new spin, because the world around us is changing every freaking day. So you cannot worry that, oh, I just posted that 3 months ago. I say, do it again. Do it again. What's your analysis on it now? Now that you know what you know, would you do anything different? Like, you just can't say, oh, nobody cares. They're too worried about their own selves to be worried about what you look like in a bathing suit. They're worried about what they look like in a bathing suit, right?
Right. Well, and I love the idea like that, you know, obviously I tell people to start with video, but you say video or blog post.
Yeah.
And I, you know, that bypasses that sort of problem that some people have where they're using AI generated content that sounds like AI generated content. But when you're starting with your own words,
Yes,
and then repurposing it, then it does sound like you.
yeah. So I'm a huge fan of, like, to me, I can either ramble on a video and then pull out the juice, you know, the meat and the potatoes of it. I can also pull out some appetizers. I can even pull out some desserts from that video. And a blog post is where I get to pour all of my thoughts out like a journal. And so from one or the other, from that blog post, I can now make a video, or from the video, I can transcribe it and turn it into a blog post. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, but that's how I like to start, is either written content or video content. And then from there, all of the little things come into play.
Okay, so let's talk about the workflow. Like, say somebody has a video. Okay, we've done, maybe it's like what, 10-15 minute video. They've done a video on the topic. What do you do with it?
Yeah. So the first thing I do is, my favorite tool is Descript, because I can transcribe that video, I can edit the text in the video, and it will remove the words from the video. So all of the times that I say deleted, or if I screw up, I can remove that paragraph and it takes it out from the video. It's easier for me to edit via transcription than it is for me to edit trying to make it fit in the little editing. I can't do it. So
I know, and even like I'm, you know, grew up on editing the old-fashioned way, and I love Descript too, because it's simpler, it's easier, it's more intuitive. So anyway, so editing all the ums and the ahs and the mistakes and the
take that
whatever.
all out.
I didn't mean to say that.
Exactly. So it just allows me to ramble, and then I can just edit it out later, because you just never know what's going to come out of my Elaine the Brain pop rocks. And then from there, so I can transcribe it, put that into chat and say, hey, I would like to create 6 pieces of content for Instagram. I want to create 6 pieces of content for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for Pinterest, for whatever. And then I will just start creating all of the content that goes with that. So I like to use AI as an assistant, not as a replacement. So grabbing the content out of that, I'm still going to rewrite it to make it sound how I want. But it's nice that it can say, okay, you could talk about this, you could talk about this, you could talk about this. That just makes my brain go, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to say, right? I know exactly how I'm going to frame this. I've also used a tool called Opus, which will take your long form video and automatically splice it up into short form videos. If you want to put them on Reels, on TikTok, on anything like that, shorts. So I literally kind of have like So I use GoHighLevel as my CRM, and it has a content scheduler in it, which makes it nice because I can schedule one piece of content and distribute it to all of the places, which is really nice. And I can also have different captions for each platform so that I can tailor it specifically to that platform. Because like I said, what you put on Facebook is not what you're going to put on Instagram or not what you're going to put on LinkedIn. So having different captions, I think, is really super important, and it makes your content seem new. So if you're going to use a video to kind of freshen it up and have different captions and descriptions and stuff. And then from there, I can also take that audio, and if I wanted to, I could turn it into a podcast episode if I wanted to, right? So I feel like from a written, video, and audio, there's so many different things you can do with that. And then putting it on Pinterest. So I have a blog post. Now we can link it to Pinterest, and you can have 5 different links, 5 different Pinterest posts that goes right to that blog post. So I am a fan. If I'm going to create a really good piece of content, I'm going to distribute it to all of the places. I might even post it on Medium. I might even post it, there's so many different places now, even from when I was doing this, like regularly and consistently. There's so many new platforms, and they're all different. So you just have to pay attention to what kind of content performs well on that platform.
Okay. Now, so you've got all these pieces of content. Are you posting them like every day for 3 months, or are you mixing them up?
I'm a mixer-upper. So I think it also kind of depends on like what is coming up in my brain that day. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get like this idea, you're driving in the car and you're like, "Ooh, you get a spark," right? And so you take that spark and now you transform it into content. And the spark may evolve and change over time. And then, like I said, 3 months later, you might have a completely different perspective on it.
Do you ever like post it just exactly like, you know what? Yeah, that was good. And then repost it exactly the same?
Sometimes with like Facebook memories or something like that, I might take, because I used to do very thought-provoking type of posts, and it's really fun to read them from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever I was working on. Sometimes I might post it again as a reshare, but I will add my 2 cents into why I'm resharing it, because that new perspective, I think, is really important and it adds to the conversation.
Okay. Now, just to sort of get to the end page, because it's really great to have lots of content and be posting, but you and I are both like business.
Yeah.
What's the ROI, the return on investment? How do people take this activity and turn it into growing your business? How does that work when you're working with people?
So you do need to have some sort of call to action, right? So when you look at content, you want to kind of think of it, is it educational? Is it inspirational? Am I sharing something funny? Am I sharing about myself, my product, my service? What do you want people to do once they've read that content? So I'm a huge fan of to send me a DM or get on my calendar. I would rather have one-on-one conversations with people just because I love to meet new people, not necessarily buy my stuff. And because my product, my service is not for everybody. And so I want them to filter me out just as much as I want to filter them out, right? So I like to just encourage people to schedule a call with me. I love to also use content as a way to ask a question and get engagement on that post. I'm on the professional, I have like a professional Facebook account, not a page, but like my personal account is a professional. So I do get paid like $17 for having engagement on Facebook. And so I'm like, you know what? It pays for my latte. I could get 3 lattes a week with that money. So basically, I just encourage people to know, like, what is the intention behind your post? If you're just posting to post, well, you're not going to get any ROI. If you're posting with intention, then you can then have something to measure. So I love to ask people, how did you find out about me? And then the people that show up randomly in my calendar, they're like, oh yeah, I've been following you forever, and I just never felt like I was ready. And I just decided I'm ready now, or somebody else told me about you or whatever. So I just kind of know, like, eventually there is payoff, but it is about posting with intention. Yeah.
And don't you find, like, I've seen this and people that I've been speaking to lately, There is a really large number of people who may watch everything you do, but they never like,
Yep.
they never comment, they never
Yep.
share until
Yep.
they do. And
Yep.
then you find out that they've been reading everything you posted for years, some of them.
Yeah, social media stalker is a real thing. And it's just because there's kind of sometimes this like underlying fear of, if I engage with them, are they going to be up in my DMs trying to sell me something? So sometimes they're like, I'm not going to say anything. I love that. I love what you're sharing, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want you to think that I want you to sell me something. And so just know that those people are watching, they are paying attention, and you don't even know it. I had no idea sometimes that I had no idea this person was watching everything I did in stalker fashion, and then eventually hired me.
Yeah. And so what do you say? Because I know, like, I'll be talking to entrepreneurs, and sometimes you feel like you're walking down the street talking to yourself because people aren't engaging. So how do you help people get over that sort of feel like this isn't really going anywhere? How do I know if this is working?
So I like to say, give it the good old college try. So that a good college try is 6 months. So you stay on task, you test. It is going to feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, and that is okay. But you cannot give up until 6 months has passed. And then you can, I also like to take a snapshot. So what I do is part of my business makeover strategy is I have a workbook, and we document their current number of followers on all of the platforms. We document their page views. We document like which pages on their website are getting the most traffic and things like that. We document all of that. I need a snapshot, and now I have something to measure in 6 months to say, wow, look at that. You got 300 new connections on LinkedIn, right? So being able to have something to measure against so that you can't say, well, that didn't work. Lies. If you are not being consistent with your frequency, and you're not producing good content, nobody's following you, it's your content. People engage with content that resonates. Try different things. If this doesn't work, try something else, right? I'm a huge fan of, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So if you find people that are having really great success, it's okay to look at what they're doing and go, I wonder what it would look like if I tried that. And then you could take some of their post, put it in a chat and say, what would you recommend for me? Like, how could I put a spin on this for myself and my business? What's the different angle? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to tweak it to make it your own, but don't copy paste, right? Be yourself, be authentic, be true to who you are. But it's okay to grab inspiration from places that it's working.
Yeah, I mean, inspiration. And professional marketers all have what they call a swipe file, where whenever you see a great post, a great advertisement, something, you put it in a file. So when you have one of those days where you're like, I have no ideas, you can go through and go, oh yeah, I really like that. What can I do to make that mine? So yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Now, one of the things you said, so you start with a snapshot. One mistake I see some people is they get obsessed with the data, every single post. So how do you rein in people who have that tendency to look at everything? What's a good frequency for measuring your data versus obsessing about every like?
Yeah, we cannot be obsessed with the vanity metrics. And I love, there are some places, I believe Instagram was going to start doing it, where they were going to remove the likes, because they notice that it can drastically affect somebody's self-esteem and their confidence, especially in our young people. And so I think we have to not be concerned about those vanity metrics. I'm more concerned about comments and replying to people that leave a comment, because what that does is it continues to push your content out. Every time you comment, you get bumped back to the top, right? So that's how it was back in the day. The algorithm is always changing, but I like to comment or give a like or a heart or something on comments, just because I want people to see me acknowledge that they took the time to comment on something that I created. So I like to do that. And I think that, to me, that is more important than likes and loves and all of those other kind of things. I think also is shares. Does somebody share your content? Paying attention to what type of content people are sharing of yours is really super important, because then you need to make more content like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, and what you said, going back to what you said at the beginning, is different content on different platforms. So
Yes.
something that works on Facebook
Mhm.
won't necessarily work on LinkedIn and won't
Yep.
necessarily work on TikTok, but you could start with the same idea and then tweak it.
Yes, exactly. And using, AI tools to help you do that and say, hey, here's a post that I have for this platform. How should I structure it over on this platform? Because you need to understand what the intention of that platform is. It's very different, very different.
All right. I feel like we could talk for probably like
I
another
know.
hour, but I want to honor everybody's time. So if somebody's going, oh my goodness, this Elaine Turso is so amazing, I want to find out more, where could people get more information about you, or what do you have for them?
I'm in all the places. We just Google my name, Elaine Turso, and I'm everywhere. Some on TikTok, I'm Elaine the Brain Turso. That's where I like to hang out the most, is on TikTok. But I actually have a free gift for everybody. So I love helping people with their follow-up, because I think it's one of those things that, okay, so you're creating content in order to get the people. You get the people. Now what do you do with them? That's the whole goal, right? Is to get the people. So we want to create a strategy, a follow-up strategy that is in alignment with your goals and your brand and things like that. So I have this follow-up strategy that I created that people can have for free. And it's a little video with a worksheet that goes through the 3 buckets of leads. So customers, active leads, and passive leads, and how to follow up with each of those.
That is amazing, because I know so many people drop the ball on the follow-up, and I
Right.
know I've been guilty of that. So I will put the link to that in the show notes. So if anybody wants to grab that, and you really should, because even if you think you're following up correctly, I bet you Elaine's got something you're missing. So Elaine, thank you so much for joining us today. And I really appreciate everyone for listening. And I hope we've inspired you to have a little bit more courage to be visible. Thanks for listening to Courage to be Visible. I hope today's conversation sparked ideas for your own visibility. If it helped, please share this episode with a friend. Follow the show and leave a quick rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps. For links, show notes, and free resources to grow your visibility, head over to the show notes or visit my website. See you next time.